watching Charter Local Edition. My name is Brad Pomerance, and we are joined today by Joel Kitchens. He is a member of the Wisconsin State Assembly, been there for about 6 months. Sir, what made you decide to come to Madison? You have a thriving practice in veterinary medicine, but you decided to run for office. Talk to us about that decision.
Yeah, well, I'd always been interested in public policy. I'd been on the school board up there for a number of years, and when the longtime incumbent decided to retire, I guess I just couldn't resist. I'd been doing the same thing for a long time, and it's kind of nice to be doing something totally different.
So talk to us about the distinctions of service between the school board, where you're local, and coming to Madison, where the issues are much more global, if I can use that phrase.
Yeah, it is. It's very different, obviously.
Right.
I'm expected to know about every field imaginable now, and and it's obviously much more political down here. School board, when I look back at it, things were pretty simple there. You voted your conscience. And
how many members on your school board?
We had 9.
9. So you go from 9 to 99. That's a big jump.
Right.
I don't know if you know everyone in the building yet, but like you said, 9's a little more palatable, more digestible. 99, you need to be able to count to, I guess, 49 and a half.
Yeah, well, and everybody here, our districts are so different that the things that are important in each of our districts are very, very different. So it's a very diverse group. So that makes it very different as well.
And so how do you talk to 55,000 constituents? It's a lot of people. How do you get to them? You're running in an election. You had been on the school board, so you had some name identification. But how do you talk to your constituents?
Well, I make myself as available as possible. I try to go to as many of the local meetings as I can. We do press releases constantly, and I'm always available for the press. So, it's a little bit of a challenge, but I just try to make myself as available as I can.
So I am a frustrated scientist.
Okay.
I think I told you that. You are a scientist, so you're able to talk much more intelligently than I am about what we're going to discuss now. And I want to talk about groundwater and the concept of karst, which is a word I have just learned, but I'm glad to have learned it. Give us a sense of the topography, the geology of your community in Door County.
Yeah, it's very unique. Door and Kewaunee County as well. We have limestone is the prevailing rock structure there, and we have very little soil. And so what happens in the karst region like that is you get cracks in that limestone.
But let's be as specific as possible, because it really is quite interesting.
Yeah.
How is dolostone a form of limestone? Is that how it works? It's kind of a substructure, or?
Yeah, it's.
So because of the actual makeup of that stone, you'll get, I guess, like you said, cracking very easily, and water seeps through much more rapidly into the groundwater than another type of stone.
Yep, and typically with disposal of manure in Wisconsin, we are the dairy state.
Right.
You rely on the soil to filter that out before it would ever reach the groundwater, so that theoretically by the time it reaches the groundwater, there's no more contaminants or.
But the problem, as I understand it, is there's not a lot of topsoil.
Right. Exactly.
Why?
I'm not a geologist, but that's just just the way it is up there. We have in some areas 6 inches of soil.
So in a lot of ways, it's a perfect storm. You have not a lot of topsoil. You have a rock formation like you described, which allows water to go rushing through it because of the cracks. And then what you see, as you described, is because it's the dairy state, a lot of manure, which uses fertilizer, which is appropriate. The nitrates from the manure gets into the groundwater.
Right, exactly.
And what happens?
Well, you have contaminated wells and streams as well. So yeah, it's a huge issue, and Kewaunee County is probably the most concentrated area for dairy cattle in Wisconsin. So again, that's part of that perfect storm. That we have to be very, very careful how we spread the manure, when we spread it. Wintertime is awful because it sits there, and then all of a sudden you get a big melt in the spring, and it all.
And so you get the nitrates going in, and I understand salmonella as well.
Well, yeah,
and we know the name salmonella. I mean, that's a well-known.
Yeah, there are a number of pathogens, E. coli, salmonella, and the nitrates and phosphorus that can all go into the water.
So I doubt that the legislature can do anything to change the geology
of
your region. We want to think we can do it all, but we probably can't. So what is the answer, sir? Because that really is the fundamental question. Our water, I mean, we need safe drinking water.
Right.
We rely on groundwater so much.
Right.
And the earth is so brilliant in the way it cleans groundwater. But like you said, just because of unique geology, it's not as easy.
Right. And I think the first step for us is to have the Department of Natural Resources recognize that our area is unique. Because, you know, in some areas around the state, the practices that might be appropriate there are not appropriate in my area. So that's the first step, is to have them recognize that, so that we can have some practices in our area that are a little different. We're a little more careful. We have to stay away from those cracks, from those sinkholes where the water goes directly into the groundwater.
Yeah, let's talk about those sinkholes, because it is interesting how, you know, when you think about a sinkhole, you have this vision of a car going down a sinkhole and a farmhouse in a sinkhole, but it's a little different in your region.
Right.
It's not the dramatic sinkholes that we see. What do we see in your region?
Yeah, I mean, often the sinkholes are very small, but the water runs directly into them. We had a case up there around Egg Harbor where, again, it was one of those perfect storms where they spread in an area where they should not have been spreading, and then we had like 6 inches of rain right after that.
Right.
So it all washed right into there, and we had several families get sick because of it. So
it's a little different when you think about a sinkhole. What the sinkholes in your region create is a rapid increase.
It's just a path straight to the groundwater.
Right.
So we have to, you know, they cannot spread manure near those sinkholes, and that's, you know, that's part of our unique topography. That.
But how do you know? How does one know if there's a sinkhole? Because, like we said, like you described, it's not a massive sinkhole. It could be just 6 inches in diameter.
Right. Most of them have been identified, so
have.
people do know where they are, and we have maps that show the depth of the soil in different areas. So, you know, if we're careful, if people are doing the right things, a lot of the problems can be avoided. Not all of them. So there are some other things that are going to have to happen as well. But
what
the sinkholes.
Else? What needs to happen?
Well, you know, I think down the line, what the answer is going to be, especially in Kewaunee County, where we have a number of very, very large farms, is treatment plants, and they're working on that already. Several of the big farmers have stepped forward already, and they'll have digesters, and then through reverse osmosis, they can actually separate off the nitrates, the phosphorus, and kill all those pathogens, and then sell those for commercial fertilizer. So down the line, that will be a big part of the solution. That's not the entire.
We'll have to treat the groundwater.
We'll treat the manure before it.
I see.
So that we're not spreading all of those, you know, pathogens, as well as, again, the nitrates, the phosphorus. So that'll be part of it, and they'll even be able to be set up, hopefully, where they can, where smaller farmers can send their manure to those places to be treated, and that would help a lot. That's not the total answer, and that's 5 or 6 years down the line, I think, before that'll be a significant factor in it.
Having been on the school board, I thought I'd ask you about the education budget. Lots of controversy swirling around it. As we speak, it appears that the governor's request for cuts to K-12 will not be marching forward.
Yeah.
There is actually an increase in education spending.
Right.
What's your sense, sir?
Well, and I was very proud of our party that we stepped forward. We had a lot of meetings about it, and we said if there's one place that we can return money, it's going to be in K-12 education.
I see.
So I'm very happy that was restored. You know, our education, they've been taking cuts for a long time, and through Act 10, they were able to make up for a lot of those cuts. They were able to realize a lot of savings.
Act 10, collective bargaining, of course.
Right, so that saved a lot, but I think we're to the point now, it's been several years, and those savings have been realized, and we can't continue to cut. So,
what do you think about the move, just philosophically, to expand the voucher program, the parental choice program? Have you taken a position yet, sir?
Yeah, and I part ways a little bit with my party on that. That I want to be very careful how we do that.
You're not alone.
Yeah,
there are plenty of people. It's an issue that crosses party lines.
Yeah, and in my area, we don't have any voucher schools, so it's money that comes away from our schools, and we see nothing in return for it. So I want to be very careful how we expand it personally, and I want to hold those schools accountable, like all of our schools. So that's the approach that I'm taking. I know the vouchers are not going to go away. They're pretty entrenched, especially in Milwaukee and Racine. But I want to be very careful how we expand them.
His name is Joel Kitchens. He is a member of the Wisconsin State Assembly. Thank you so much for the science lesson. I enjoyed it very much. My name is Brad Pomerance. This is Charter Local Edition. That was excellent.